My ex's unexpected pregnancy leads to drastic life changes, my journey from reluctant dad to financial provider. I, 25 Balmem, had been with my now ex, 23F, for a little over 3 months. I always made sure we took plenty of precautions when being intimate. She was on birth control, and I always used condoms. I wanted to avoid having a child. I have known for a long time that I do not want children. I find them annoying, and they would severely limit my ability to do the things I enjoy, traveling, outdoor activities, etc. Unfortunately, my ex didn't have her period when she was supposed to, and it turns out she's now pregnant. She came to me and told me she was pregnant. The first thing I did was suggest an abortion. We don't live in a state where it's legal, so I offered to pay for her flight and hotel and told her I'd be happy to come with her to get it done. I have a stable job and make good money, so it wouldn't be too much of a hit for me. She works as a receptionist and doesn't make a lot, so I figured it would be better for me to pay. That's when she told me she was hoping to keep the baby and that she wanted me to help her raise the child as its father. I have no intention of being a father. Beyond my dislike of children, I'm not ready for that. I made it very clear that I didn't want the baby, but she kept insisting that I'd have a change of heart once it's born and to just try it out. After a long exchange, I told her that if she intended to keep the baby, I would not act as a father. I broke up with her and told her that I would pay child support once it's born, but that I expect her to respect my wishes and keep the child away from me. Since then, she's been frantically texting me, begging me to come back and telling me she'd forgive me. She sent me voicemails crying, and it does hurt to see, but I haven't responded. The other day, she texted me saying how she can't raise the kid alone and how I'm basically forcing her to get the abortion just by leaving. She called me a jerk, a bully, and a misogynist. She ended the text begging me to talk again. I certainly feel awful. I really liked her, and we had a good relationship before this, but I just don't want to be a father. I'm already bitter about the fact that I'll have to pay child support for 18 years, which will somewhat limit me financially. I also feel it isn't right for a parent who doesn't want their child to be involved. I just end up taking that pent-up anger and bitterness out on the child, who is ultimately innocent, which I feel isn't right. Edits. On the topic of a vasectomy, I tried. I met with a doctor last year and asked about getting one, but he refused and said every doctor he knows won't do it until you're at least 30. It's a conservative state, and while I dislike the politics, I was born and raised here, so I'm still attached to the state and have never felt the urge to leave. Someone said I should have flown elsewhere to get one, and I guess they're right, but I just didn't think about that. On the topic of birth control, I bought the condoms myself, so they were fine. Whenever we were done, I'd throw used condoms in the dumpster, so I don't think she went dumpster diving. I asked her on our first date if she was taking birth control, and she said yes. I took her at her word. Maybe it was foolish to just believe her, but if she was lying, she'd be the first I've met to lie about that. Most girls I've met are honest about it. I assumed she was on the pill since that's the main birth control I know, but maybe she was on something else that I'm not educated about. That being said, I'll follow your advice and lawyer up and get a paternity test. I don't know how long that will take, but whenever I get it done, I'll update here with results. Thank you for your judgments. I've been away for a bit, but I'm catching up and trying to read what I can. I'll be checking back periodically and replying to some people. All further feedback is appreciated. Update 1. I have hired one of the better family court lawyers in my state. She has someone representing her pro bono. It has been made clear to my ex and her representative that she is not to contact me personally, and that all contact will go through my lawyer from now on. A paternity test is scheduled for next Wednesday. I don't know how long it will take to get results, but the test is happening. If the child is mine, we will go to court to determine child support payments and set up the process for me to sign away my rights. Another clarifying edit. At the beginning, I said I made sure to use lots of precautions. I thought people would take away from that the idea that I had made my intention to not have kids clear at the beginning. Just wanted to make that clear. She told me she wasn't looking to have kids. I should have been more clear about this, I guess. I was under the assumption that she didn't want kids, which is why I was blindsided by her change of heart once she was actually pregnant. I understand it happens, feelings change or whatever, but for me, it was a big shock. When I go to get the paternity test started, she will also have an ultrasound, and we'll talk then. I'll update on Wednesday. By the way, the test will take a few days to process, so I'll also update with results. Update 2, I got the test done, and the results are in. The baby is a girl, and is indeed mine. When I saw my ex, I had a talk with her. We talked about birth control, and she told me she was on birth control and had no intention of having children. But once she found out she was pregnant, she changed her mind. I believe her. She was hopeful that I would come around to that perspective, so I made it very clear that I will not be part of the child's life and gave her 3 options. Option 1, get an abortion in any state of her choosing, and I'll pay for her to stay there for a week, so she could basically take a vacation to Hawaii or NYC or LA on my dime, but I need to come with her and get confirmation that she had the abortion. Option 2, put the child up for adoption, and I'll pay for all the medical expenses that come with having a child. Option 3, keep the child, and I pay my court-ordered child support, sign away my parental rights, have my name taken off the birth certificate, and have absolutely zero involvement with her or the child beyond my monthly payments. It was a tough conversation, and she didn't take it well. She ended up crying for a while. She kept telling me that I would be a loving and kind dad, asking me to try fatherhood, think about how well our relationship was going before this happened, and imagine our future together with a daughter. I told her I'm still firmly against fatherhood, and she was devastated. She refuses to get an abortion, but is scared to be a single mother at 23, even though she wants the child. She told me that if I'm with her during the birth, see and hold the child, but still feel nothing for the baby after all that, then she will consider adoption. She also said if I change my mind about fatherhood, she will be waiting with open arms to enjoy parenthood together as a loving family, and would hope I'd propose. I have made it very clear I don't want any involvement. I'm not sure what I should do, since I would prefer for the baby to be put up for adoption rather than have to pay child support for 18 long years, but I also don't want to be around the baby at all or present during the birth. Update 3. Over the past few days, I've received a new influx of advice. Some of it has been helpful or interesting, and I set up a lunch with my ex yesterday to discuss some of the ideas. This was the first time we had talked in over a month, as all our communication had been through lawyers. To ensure the conversation was productive, I set ground rules and aimed for a realistic approach. Both of us had been unrealistic in our expectations. I told her I was giving up on the idea of abortion or adoption. While it was what I wanted, I realized it wasn't going to happen. My ex wants the baby, and I acknowledge that. I won't bring up abortion or adoption to her again, as it's not worthwhile. I also told her it was time for her to give up on the idea of us being together. I made it very clear that we wouldn't get back together, even if she aborted the baby. She will never have the happy family with me that she wants. She acknowledged this, and we both recognized that reality had set in. It was time to compromise. Our new goal is to provide my ex and our daughter with the support they need, while allowing me to have no involvement in raising the child. I will not be involved in raising the child, but I will provide significant financial support. My ex has $25,000 in student debt and makes around $60,000 a year. In contrast, I have about $10,000 in student debt and make roughly $150,000 a year. I'll have my debts paid off by the end of 2025, and I've been setting aside money into savings and investments. I have the financial means to support them, so I worked with my ex to find a fair support system. We decided on a handshake agreement to avoid court. I will pay for all her medical expenses related to the pregnancy, including doctor visits and hospital bills. Once the baby is born, I will pay $2,000 a month in child support. This will give her breathing room and allow her to continue paying off her student debt. We estimated it would take her 6 to 8 more years to pay off her debt. Once she pays off all her debt, the child support will drop to $1,000 a month. If she marries someone who takes on the role of a father, my child support payments will stop, since he will provide additional income. I will also create a savings account that my ex can see. Starting the day the baby is born, I will deposit $500 into the account monthly until the girl turns 18. This should result in about $108,000, excluding interest, which will be available as a college fund. If she doesn't go to college, I will keep the money. The fund has another condition, which I'll explain later. Beyond money, my ex and the child will need emotional support. My sister and her wife love kids, and we're looking into adoption. I asked my sister if she would help my ex, and she was excited about the prospect. My ex agreed to have my sister and her wife as a support system. They will help with babysitting, advice, or just being there for her. They'll also be extra family for the child, making things like birthdays and holidays special. Now, for the second condition of the college fund. My sister is a lesbian, and our parents are extremely religious and homophobic. They have treated my sister poorly since she came out. I do not want my parents involved in the child's life. I made it clear that if my ex ever visits them with the child, there will be no college fund. Finally, I decided to write a letter to my daughter for closure. I won't come back, so I thought this was a good idea. The letter will explain why I'm not around and this whole situation. I'll be truthful but gentle, making it clear that I didn't leave because of her, but because I never wanted to be a father. I'll mention how hard her mother tried to make me reconsider and how much she loves her. I'll end it by wishing her good luck in life. The letter will be notarized and signed by both me and my ex. If she has questions questions about me when she turns 18, my ex will give her the letter. If she still needs closure, she can talk to me in person. My ex also wanted my name on the birth certificate, so I agreed to that. In summary, my ex will keep the child, I will provide child support payments, and I will fund a college account under certain conditions. My sister and her wife will support my ex, and I will write a letter explaining my absence. This is likely my last update, as things are mostly figured out. Thank you for all the advice and help. I will be getting a vasectomy in Colorado in February 2024. Update 4. I got our terms from Update 3 written up into a contract, and my ex has signed. Some minor changes have been made, which I will outline. Some things weren't legally enforceable, so those remain part of our handshake agreement. The basic contract is that I have no visitation rights and will never be allowed visitation rights. My ex must actively keep the child away from me. I will pay for her medical care during the pregnancy. We adjusted the payment system. I will pay $1.5K month in child support, with an additional $500 added for every $50K my salary increases, capping at $500K for a max support payment of $5K a month. The handshake part of the agreement is the college fund in exchange for not notifying my parents about their granddaughter. The college fund will be monitored by my sister. I will deposit $500 a month until the child turns 18. Then the fund will be available if she goes to college or trade school. If she forgoes higher education, she will receive a flat sum of $27K, about 1/4 of the total fund, and the remainder will go back to me. We scrapped the letter idea. If she wants to see me when she's 18, she'll have to find me. My sister will still help my ex with parenting, and the girl will know my sister as her aunt. Everything is settled. My ex is far along in the pregnancy, and everything is worked out. Sorry to disappoint those who wanted me to step up and be a present father, but that will never happen.